So the film begins and we see a lot of dead people in a restaurant. To find out what happened here and how these people died, the story goes back. One day in the past, we see the movie's main character, Nancy, who takes a pregnancy test in the fields and gets a positive result, which makes her very scared. Because she isn't married yet and none of this was planned. Now Nancy, feeling tense, goes to her dad's restaurant where she herself works. On the way, her car runs out of gas, so she decides to walk the rest of the way, and that's when she runs into someone on a bicycle who also works at the same restaurant. This guy gives Nancy a lift and they both reach the hotel. As soon as Nancy arrives at the hotel, her dad tells her that she will have to manage the hotel tonight because he has to attend a meeting. Nancy nods, since she could handle everything. Her dad also tells her that he has kept someone here to help her, but hearing this makes Nancy angry. She didn't like it at all. She requests her dad to let that person go, but he refuses, saying that he has already made up his mind. Nancy then leaves her dad's office but suddenly starts feeling dizzy, which is why she steps outside the hotel, where Jack has also come out for a smoke. Seeing her in that condition, he realized that Nancy was pregnant. He asks her if her dad knows this secret. Nancy doesn't respond to his question, and just then, her dad arrives there as well. Seeing him, she became nervous, but her dad didn't pay any attention to her condition. She had just come to tell Jack that he should deal well with any customers he has and that she would help him with this. I don't want a CC bra, and she goes ahead and asks her dad what kind of meeting is so important that he absolutely has to go. So her dad said, "After your mother's death, I've been feeling very lonely. That's why I've decided to get married and I'm going to meet a woman." Hearing this, Nancy became even more upset. The thought that she'd have to share her dad with someone else bothered her. We had entered the hotel and so far everything was normal, but then a gang of young guys showed up. The boys were behaving very badly outside their hotel. They were revving their bikes, making a lot of noise, and they had even killed a rabbit outside. In such an environment, their customers could easily run away. Nancy got angry and went outside to threaten them, telling them to leave. But instead of listening to her, the boys came into her hotel wearing masks and demanded that she take their order. Nancy was already furious. She said, "Either you leave now or I'll call the police." When the boys still didn't get up, Nancy actually pretended to call the police, which finally made the boys leave. One of them came up to her and said something. "We're leaving for now, but we'll definitely be back." The way those boys had humiliated Nancy, everyone was laughing at her, and seeing this made Nancy even angrier. She called the entire staff together and told everyone that she was their manager. And she says that respecting me is your duty, that following my orders is your responsibility because I am the owner here. To this, Jack replies that all of this is because of your diet, you get no credit for it. He also says, "We are your people." Nancy is overjoyed and, in her excitement, she throws out this rude person. Jack was shocked and said, "You can't do this." But Nancy replied, "Now I'm the manager and only my orders matter here." What could he do? He took off his apron and left. Nancy had done all this in the heat of the moment. She herself couldn't understand what had come over her. She goes to the washroom, relieves herself and tries to relax. Just then, we see that he was waiting for her outside the washroom. He says to her, "I can stay tonight to help you. Since you've already fired the check, it's not safe for you to stay here alone at night." This makes Nancy even angrier. She feels that Bobby is pitying her and trying to befriend her. She bluntly tells Bobby that he's not her type and that he doesn't need to try to impress her just to become friends with her. Hearing this, Bobby is also deeply hurt and leaves her there. Soon after, the entire staff's shift ends and Nancy is left alone at the place. She had to work the night shift alone. First, Nancy cleans up the place, and then, when no customers arrive, she talks to herself on the phone. On the call, she told her dad that she had already fired Jack. Her dad was surprised, so she said, "He wasn't respecting me at all, and he insulted me in front of everyone. What else could I do?" Now her nerves were unsettled, knowing she would have to spend the whole night alone. The boss told her to stay alert all night and to call them if there was any problem. Nails, however, wasn't afraid at all. She played some music and, enjoying herself, started working here again. But this enjoyment lasted only until she saw that gang outside her hotel, the same one that had come earlier in the afternoon. Seeing them, she got angry and said through the speaker, "You all need to leave right now. If you don't, I'll call the police." As soon as she said this, she noticed that all the doors and windows of her hotel were open. It could take a while for the police to arrive, but if these people tried to harm her, it wouldn't take them long at all. As soon as this thought crossed her mind, she started closing all the windows and doors. After shutting everything, she quickly calls the police and tells them that there's a gang of bikers outside who are harassing her. The police say they will send an inspector to help her. Nor did she feel secure from any side of her hotel. She started hearing the sound of the door being banged loudly. She got scared. She hid under a counter. After a long time of knocking, suddenly the knocking stopped. Nancy felt a bit relieved, but then someone knocked on her door again. She froze. Quietly, she got up from under the counter. When she looked outside, she saw that Sharif, the police officer, was there. So she immediately went and opened the door for her. Here. The officer tells him that he needs to thoroughly inspect this place. They search the place thoroughly, but apart from Nancy, they don't find anyone else there. In fact, they don't even see anyone outside the hotel. After checking the place, he reports to the police that he didn't see any danger there. It could be that the girl is just imagining things, so to ease her mind, he decides to stay with her for a while. After that, he asks Nancy to make him some coffee and sits down there. Even his gaze was making Nancy uncomfortable. Then the police officer came to Nancy and started telling her, "Come with me to the police station. The crimes committed by that group have increased a lot, and you should come with me and file a complaint with the police." He was just about to drag her away with him when suddenly, the boys from that same gang came from behind and attacked Sharif, and within moments they killed him. Seeing this, Nancy was terribly frightened. To save her own life, she went and hid in the glass room. She was extremely scared and couldn't figure out how to call someone for help, but just then, as luck would have it, Bobby was already on his way there. Seeing him gave Nancy a lot of courage, and she quickly brought Bobby quietly inside the hotel. And here we see that the boys from that group have also entered the hotel now. At this point, Nancy had also messaged her friend, asking her to either call someone for help or come there herself. Before the two of them could do anything else, the gang comes and catches them, taking them captive. Nancy's car keys were right in front of her, but because her hands were tied, she couldn't pick them up. Now, one of the men covers Nancy's mouth and hands and locks her in a room. There, Nancy manages to free her hands. She was extremely frightened. To save herself from this man, she grabs a knife nearby and stabs him through the bag, killing him on the spot. When Nancy removes his mask, she is shocked. It was none other than her own employer from the hotel. A short while later, she sees that Bobby is also entering the room with open hands. She realizes that Bobby is also involved with these people and that they are not the same gang as before. In fact, they are the people who work at her hotel who have come here this time to take revenge on her. Bobby, who was her friend, had also joined forces with these people because today she had also humiliated Bobby. Now, to find out what these people were doing here, the scene flashes back and we are shown him, who was extremely angry after losing his job. He wanted to take revenge on Nancy at any cost. He drops everyone off at their homes. After that, he wants to take the knife and go to the group of young thugs who had come outside their hotel this afternoon. As soon as he gets there, he pulls out his knife and injures one member of the gang. This scares the young thugs in the gang. Then Jack played a song and made all of them dance to his tune. After that, he grabbed the knife and told the local boys to beat them up. But when he couldn't do his job, the boys got a chance to escape. After that, NPC asked to meet at the restaurant in the evening. After the boys escaped from there, he takes their masks and clothes and leaves, and at night, he meets up with the rest of his clique. He tells everyone, "I know Nancy has hurt all of you. She's a terrible manager. If you want to take revenge on her, you can join me." Everyone was angry at Nancy, so they all agreed to support him. That means the mastermind behind this whole plan happening right now was Jack. Bobby joined Jack's plan because he thought Jack would just scare Nancy at most and wouldn't actually harm her. At first, they started scaring Nancy, and when Nancy actually called the police officer, they hid. Then, to save themselves, they all ended up killing the police officer together. At this point, Bobby dropped out of Jack's plan, took off his mask, and went to help Nancy, because deep down, he sympathized with Nancy, he liked her. The scene shifts back to the present, where Nancy, after learning all this, was extremely angry. At this time, P, whom Nancy had attacked, was injured. They carried the girl inside the hotel. Now they were planning to call someone for help to save Pete's life, but who would they call? Who would help them? This was a police case. Here we see that Bobby noticed the tracks of Nancy's car, so he picked them up, and just then Jack's associate informed him that Nancy had run away like this. Hearing this, he gets angry and immediately tells them to catch Nancy. He also told BC to chase after Nancy, but here Bobby instead attacked Jack. He punched him in the face. Meanwhile, on the other side, we are shown Nancy's fear as people were calling to find out Nancy's whereabouts. But no one was picking up the phone at the hotel. Here, the guy who was following Nancy moved to catch him. Cleverly, she throws hot boiling water on him, burning his entire face. Within moments, this guy was also killed by the burns. Now she quietly made her way to the restroom where she saw that Bobby was lying there injured. She was just about to sneak under the table to help him when at that moment her friend arrived there. In the same hotel, Bobby was trying to give her the keys to his car from downstairs so that Nancy could save her life and escape from there. Seeing the target, Nancy's friend Sarah panicked and ran away to save her own life. She didn't even bother to call the police. Nancy also got the keys to her car. Seizing the opportunity and avoiding Chuck's gaze, she ran out of the hotel door. But just then, Chuck caught her from behind as she was running away. He grabs her by the hair, stabs her in the back through her bag, and then drags her body back inside the hotel. Jack felt that now everyone else was dead and he was the only one alive. He comes in, takes off all his clothes, and immediately calls the police to make it clear that he just witnessed all this and that he is not involved in any of it. He had thought that by doing this, he would leave the city. He would start a new life, but even he didn't know about the twist in the story. Nancy was still alive. She musters up the courage, pulls the knife out of her stomach, and drags herself over to Bobby, who was now dead. Seeing Bobby's corpse, she cried a lot because Bobby was the one who used to care for her so much. Now, a fire for revenge was burning in Nancy's heart. She gathered her courage and went to sit in her car. She drove to Jack's house. She knocked on Jack's door. At this time, Jack wasn't expecting anyone to come to his house. He opened the door and saw Nancy standing there, and without wasting any time, Nancy stabbed him in the neck with the knife she was holding, killing him and taking her revenge. Now, there was very little strength left in her body. Dragging herself, she managed to take just a few steps forward and then collapsed right there. At that moment, she was thinking of her mom. Suddenly, a car stopped nearby and her dad came out and rushed to her. He had seen Nancy's car parked close by, which is why he had come there. Seeing his son in such a state, he became worried and said, "Be strong, I'll take you to the doctor, you'll be fine." But here, Nancy calms him down and tells him the truth, that she is pregnant, and with this revelation, the story comes to an end.